Welcome back to Villa Famiglia, everybody. It is week 40 of this masterful project. I wanted to take a shot from the back of the house today because I just think the details that we have implemented and designed back here just look so cool from this angle. So I figured to do the opening scene from here. Why the hell not? Anyways, I want to go over what we've done for the back roof and the back deck. We're going to talk a little bit about what's going on in the garage, and then we're just going to do a general walkthrough of the house and see where things are at. We are so close to being ready for framing inspection and start installation. It's not even funny. So let's stop talking about it from the outside and go check things out from the inside. Let's go. Okay, so we are now getting ready for the electrical rough-in and plumbing rough-in for this garage. So we have got the electrical panel here all roughed in, ready to go. And this is actually gonna be the main panel for the entire house as well, right? So this is gonna be where the 200 amp service comes in for the house, and then it goes in and there's another 200 amp panel inside of the house. This right here is, we've talked about it before, but this is for the secondary meter base for the secondary suite. So that goes all the way straight through into the house, into a panel inside of the house. And again, I know I've talked about it a lot on this channel. If you have the option to put in a secondary meter for a secondary suite, you want to do that every single time, because then your tenant has to deal with whatever power they use. You know, if they want to keep it extra warm down there during the winter, they're paying for it. It's not coming out. You don't have to argue about who's paying for what, right? I mean, internet, who cares? Everybody can put in a Wi-Fi router and you can share that across the house, and probably not that big a deal. But electricity, you know, you can get some tenants that really abuse the electrical and you can get some tenants that don't. But why not protect yourself? Put in that secondary meter base and then you don't have to worry about it. Now, coming over here, these are low voltage wires, and this is gonna provide the internet access for this home. So that's what this is all about. And then coming over here, and you can just see up against the bottom cord of the truss there, a blue pipe, and that is gonna be for a hose bib so that they can wash their vehicles on this side of the garage. And they actually are also gonna have another hose bib on the other side of the garage over here. And this one, where is it? I think it's here. If memory serves me correct, this is actually gonna be a hot-cold hose bib. So there's more pipe to go here, but that's what's going on here. And then there's gonna be like a little kind of sink sort of thing going on over here just for washing the hands, because these people really love to work on their vehicles. One of their kids is a mechanic. He actually works where I take my vehicles to get serviced. Turns out, small world. Again, going through here, we were here yesterday with the clients going over the electrical rough-in, and you know, we always talk about doing a box out walkthrough because it's so easy to add boxes, move boxes, all that sort of thing before the electricians start pulling wires. But now that we have done that, we've identified we want to add a few more plugs here and there, move a couple things here and there. So yeah, we're in good shape in the garage. We just need to get it wired up and inspected. Now, let's slide over and look at what Harrison's been working on in terms of this concrete form over here. Kyle, it is really bright here. It's 8:46 in the morning and it's winter time, or not really, I guess it's fall, October, low sun, early in the morning, right in your eyeballs. It's a lot of fun, is what it is. Nonetheless, we're over here to talk about this retaining wall. So Harrison's been working hard to get this all formed up. We've got it all ready to go. Just needs some bracing so that it is ready to go for pouring concrete. Now you'll notice on this particular wall, we don't have any strong backs. It's not a very tall wall. It's only about 3-4 feet. So we'll just end up having some fan bracing, which is just gonna be bracing going down to the ground over here eventually when we're ready to pour the concrete. Concrete's not coming today, obviously. So not worried about that, but you know, in the comment section when you say, hey, there's no brace, well, I know there's no bracing. It's not ready for concrete, all right? We do have that cant strip detail continuing through here, and we have a little knockout here. So basically where Kyle was originally just holding the camera is where the stairs down to this parking area are. And then over here, all of this dirt is gonna go away, and we're toying with a couple of different options for how to clean this up. The neighbor doesn't wanna eliminate the rock retaining wall on her side of the property, even though it's no longer a needed entity, but she seems to like the aesthetic of it. So we've got to figure out a way to work around that. We came up with a couple of pretty good options yesterday, so we're just putting together some numbers for the client so that they can figure out which option they would prefer. One option would see us form a concrete wall in front of this wall and then put a fence on top of that, which would hide the back of this rock wall and then also add some privacy here. The other option, which I personally am voting for, is to get the slab put in here and then stack some cedar 4x4s or 4x6s on top of the concrete slab and stain that and make that look pretty so that this is hidden and it just kind of goes away. We shall see what the ultimate decision is in time. Stay tuned for that. Okay, so somebody commented and asked, wouldn't smart breakers be a cheaper, faster, easier way to get the same job done as having 2 meter bases? And I get the answer is kind of, maybe. The issue is if you use a smart breaker, then you as a landlord now need to go and negotiate with your tenant for how much you're going to charge them for the electricity that's coming to your home. Here in Vancouver, we have 2-tiered electrical pricing. So depending on how much power you're using, your rate goes up. So like tier 1 is X and tier 2 is, I don't know, 1.2 or 1.3X. So, you know, the second tier of electrical is quite a bit more money. I would say smart breaker might work where you're at, but it's still going to involve having to have a dialogue with your tenant every month or every 2 months whenever you get your hydro bill about how much your tenant needs to pay. Whereas if you do 2 meter bases, now your tenant has to open an account with hydro in order for them to have electricity to their suite. That way you don't have to get involved. If they want power, they've got to pay hydro. And if they don't pay hydro, they don't get power. Plain and simple, clean, easy. Okay, so I wanted to take a minute and just talk about the back of this home because it was no small feat to get it to look the way that it does. Some engineering had to come into play. There's just a lot of work that had to get done. And the reason being is this roof is overhanging the columns, right? So this behind the fascia, which is the white horizontal board, is a 2-ply microlam. Is it 2? Yeah, or maybe it's even a paralam, right? And so that actually is acting as a cantilever on the ends of all of these roof rafters. So we'll jump up on the ladder there and we'll maybe try to get a shot for you so you can see what it looks like from the back. But that's what holds the rafters that are on the outsides of the columns. Obviously, like if you're between the columns, it's not super rocket science. But again, in this instance, right, the columns are set back from the edge of the roof. It looks on a drawing and it looks in your mind like not a complicated roof and a complicated detail to execute. It turns out in practicality it was actually pretty challenging and required quite a bit of engineering and real foresight and prowess to get everything to work together. Like we had to order custom hangers to go on top of, or post caps that attach to the beams. We'll go up there and we'll take a look at what those look like. You know, when you come back here and you're looking at this, obviously we've got the doors plywooded off and it's not sided or anything, so it's still very much in its raw format. But like I know what this is gonna look like in my mind's eye. It's hard to impart upon you what it's gonna look like. We might actually have a 3D rendering that Kyle can cut in here so you can kind of get a sense for what it's gonna look like, but it is gonna be freaking awesome. I don't know. I really love all these details and the Italian family Roman columns. I mean, come on, forget about it. All right, let's go upstairs, go up the ladder and have a look. Okay, so I wanted to come up here and just show you guys these brackets that we had to have welded up and made for this project. So those red things at the top there are steel, primed obviously, and then those are sitting on top of a 6x6, which goes through the middle of the Roman columns and connects to another column beneath it. And so we've got a paralam coming off the house that is extending past that post, and then we've got two paralams, right, coming through here, whoop, like that. And that's what's holding up all of these rafters, and then that's what's also holding up the outside here, right? So coming over here, we've got a paralam on the outside that's holding up the outside of this roof on this side, and that connects back over yonder. And then over here, same idea, is we've got that paralam going over top of this column, and this one extends out quite a bit further on this side. and it has to go all the way up and pick up and connect to the roof over here, which then takes off at a different angle. And so in order to achieve that, we actually had to add a micro lam against the house, which cantilevers out and picks up the edge of that roof. So it's actually a pretty like detailed, funky sort of thing going on out here. Took a lot of work and a lot of effort and a lot of thinking, but the guys did an absolutely fantastic job of getting it done, and it looks awesome. Like I love the back of this house. Behind this plywood here is a 4-panel folding door, so that is getting dealt with. Now, one of the issues that came up, and it's too bad to have the plywood up so we can't talk about it and I can't show you, but when the door was ordered, the door manufacturer didn't do a very good job of explaining to the clients the ramifications of ordering a 4-panel door, right? If you're ordering a 4-panel folding door, you either everything all moves together on one side because of the way that they hinge, or you have a 3-in-1 or a 2-in-2, right? So you would have it one active door and then 3 panels slide to the other side, or you could have 2 that open from the middle and slide to the outside. But really, when you don't have a swing door coming to a main deck, you really don't have a choice other than to go with a 3-in-1 folding door system. And so unfortunately, the salesperson on this project for this client really came up short in explaining the nuance of these door systems. I mean, they're incredibly expensive, and truthfully, like, my level of disappointment with how this is being handled can't be understated. It really, you know what, like when you have people on your team that say and do things that don't make sense and they don't manage and deal with expectations appropriately, it's really frustrating. And does Sprucehill play a part in it? Absolutely, right? I mean, should my designer have known what was going on when she was meeting with the clients? Yeah, maybe, but like, you know, we're not the all-knowing of every detail of every home. When we partner with suppliers and our trades, we really are relying on working with great partners and great trades to give us and our clients really good direction and really good advice. And, you know, when we don't get that, it really hurts. And so this is an example, you know, I'll be the first on this channel to admit our imperfections, and this is an example of not perfect. But we're gonna get it fixed, we're gonna get it swapped out, because I'm not leaving this behind, and we're gonna make sure that this client has an amazing home to move into. Okay, so you might be wondering, as you see our videos, why this has received torch-on membrane. And if you're not familiar with what torch-on membrane is, this is torch-on membrane. Now, it is missing a top cap because it's not needed. So we just did 2 base layers instead of a base and a top. The top cap is that granular stuff. This is just 2 plies of base coat because that's all we need here. The reason why we need it is back in the 50s and 60s, when the builders were building these homes, they made the stairs come up to the front door, and then there's kind of like a cold room, or there was anyways, a cold room underneath those stairs. And you know, I think people used to use them for storing canned goods, wine, whatever the case may be. Sadly, that kind of construction and those kind of details are no longer allowed. We need to make sure that this sucker is watertight, left, right, and center. So we have applied torch-on membrane to the concrete, up the walls a little bit, so that if and when any water should get over here, which with having an overhang, there shouldn't be a lot, but if and when there is, no water will get in the home. And that is why we have torch-on membrane on top of concrete at the front of a house built in the 50s. That's a wrap on today's walkthrough, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our videos and our content. Listen, if you have a second story addition that you've been dreaming of, we would love to be your partners in success. Reach out to us on our phone number or catch us on our website. Interact with us however you want. You can leave us a comment here if that's how you want to reach out. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay awesome. Thanks for watching. Bye now.